to Book Your Success, the online show for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, about entrepreneurs. This show spotlights authors who have books which provide information, innovation, and inspiration needed by successful entrepreneurs and business professionals. It includes a special focus on how authors use their book to market and build their brand. Let's join host and entrepreneur Anita Paul with today's guest.
Hello and welcome to Book Your Success. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Anita Paul, the author's midwife with WriteYourLife.net. Of course, I'm the host of the show. Thanks again for joining us, logging in. I know there's lots of people out there watching, so we want you to chime in and log into the chat room and ask some questions. We have a phenomenal guest today. We're going to talk about her book shortly, and I'm going to introduce her in just a second. But first, I want to let you know about our sponsor for the show today, Visual Marketing Mentors. Anytime that you have a trade show or any kind of event, you want to get out there and make the best impression, right? So you've got to have the signage, you need the booth, you need all of the goodies and everything to make it look awesome. You want to get in touch with Visual Marketing Mentors. Ann Key Spencer is awesome. She's amazing. And so you want to get in touch with them, www.visualmarketingmentors.com. They are amazing, and they'll set you up and make sure you make a great splash at any event, trade show, conference, convention, wherever you are. Okay, visualmarketingmentors.com. We thank them for being the sponsor for the show today. Now, our guest for today, Tana Gildea, amazing woman, amazing. She has worked just everywhere. She's been in corporate America. She's been in small business. She has worked in the home. She's a mother of 4, believe it or not. Isn't she gorgeous? She's also volunteered at PTAs and sports events, anything, more than she can even count. But I'll tell you right now, she is actually a partner with Compass Financial Consulting. She serves as the Chief Compliance Officer. She's a certified financial planner. She's a certified public accountant, and she is a certified college planning specialist. But she's here today because she is the author of The Graduate's Guide to Money. Oh my gosh, this is helping young people start off their financial journey on the right foot. And I want to say welcome, Tana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being on the show. The Graduate's Guide to Money. What prompted you to write this book?
Well, as you said, I am the mother of 4 kids. I have 2 in college and 2 in high school. And so I know that my kids know a lot about spending money, but they don't know a lot about some of the other aspects of money and financial lives, and I know that their friends don't know. So I really wanted something. When I first started this process, I looked out there and there was a lot about getting yourself out of the financial ditch, but I thought, let's just not get in the financial ditch in the first place. And I know I made a lot of money mistakes in my 20s. You don't know what you're doing, you're bumbling along, you're having a good time, but you're maybe not planning the way that you could. And if you set yourself up with a plan from the get-go, then you stay out of the ditch and you actually get where you want to go.
Exactly. So what are some of the common mistakes you find that young people make with money?
Well, it is very much in the moment. You know, we're all in the moment. It is so easy to spend money now because all you need to do is swipe it. That doesn't feel like spending money. And then you get a credit card bill at the end of the month and it's like, what? What happened? How did I get this big balance when I only spent, you know, $10? And that was one of my biggest money mistakes. Was it's only $5.
Right.
It's only $10. Okay,
how many times do you do that in a month? Right.
It adds up. Go to Target and $5 your way to a $300 cart at the end of the day. Go on Amazon. Click, click, click. It's $50.
Right.
You know, so it all adds up, and that's the thing that I think is just hard for everybody to get their arms around because it's just so easy to spend.
So these are issues that not only young people have, but seasoned people as well. Who can benefit most from this book?
Well, I really wrote it sort of for the audience of kids getting started, but there's so many people, you know, especially women in their 40s and 50s that suddenly find themselves single and maybe have not been the person in charge of the finances in the relationship. So it's anybody that, well, I think I have a teacher's heart, really. I like sharing information. I like passing along and trying to make things a little easier for the people coming behind me, no matter what, sort of environment I'm in. When I was in public accounting, it was the people just starting, like, think about this and don't do that and do this. And so I like doing that, and I've always wanted to write a book. I sat down at 19 with the paper and pencil, and I just didn't have anything to say at 19.
But it was in you, right?
But it was
in your heart.
me. I wanted to do it so bad. And so I just thought, I've always wanted to do this, and this is something now I know. I've lived it. I've experienced it. I've done all the don't pictures, so every single thing I say, don't do it, it's because I did it. Unfortunately, I never did it into the ditch, but I just could be a lot further ahead, at this stage, if I'd had a better plan and been thoughtful and purposeful about what I was doing with my money.
So let's talk about some of those don't do's, some of the mistakes that you made, the money mistakes, that hopefully this book will lead young people in the opposite direction. Maybe they can see themselves in this. Oh, I'm that person. Let's profile some of those people in those mistakes.
I think, one of the things that I did, I got my first job, I had a 401k, I signed up to contribute, and then I invested it in guaranteed interest fund because I didn't know anything about investing and I didn't want to lose money. Okay, at 20-something, you do not want guaranteed interest because you are losing money every year that goes by because of inflation. So I didn't know about investing. I was afraid of investing. We, of course, didn't have the internet that you could get out there and Google things. So I just tried to do something safe. I checked a box. I thought, this sounds safe, guaranteed, great. But I lost a decade of earning money in the stock market, investing. And I think there's a lot more information out there, but if you Google investing, you're going to get about 20 million hits. And that's a lot of information to wade through. So I really want to take, especially that topic, and just try to make it simple. Here's a simple way you can get started.
And you give some great examples in the book on investing, what to look for. But I really like the chapter that talks about that first job. That most of us, when we got that first job, we had no clue. We were just checking a box.
You're checking
We're checking the box on everything. We think we're rolling in the dough and we've got this great, we're really focused on the paycheck, right?
Yeah.
And then we get all these other papers from the Human Resources Department, from healthcare papers, whatever other benefits that we're getting. And your book covers all of that stuff. So what are the top 3 things?
Well, obviously now healthcare is a huge issue. Are, employers providing it? Are they not? We have a lot of options, and options are a good thing and options are a bad thing, because when you have 2 options, you can flip a coin.
Right.
If you have 30 options, you get a little paralyzed because I don't know what these things mean. I don't know what a lower deductible is. I don't know what a higher deductible is. I don't know what copay means. I don't know what coinsurance means. So we do end up, hey, you got to turn in these forms, in 3 days, and we are just, checking boxes, which is what I did. But I wanted to go through and explain what do the terms mean and how do you compare the choices between it. It's real easy to go through and pick the lowest cost thing, but man, if you get sick or get an accident, that might not be the best financial decision to make in the long run. So I want to give, and I've got some like a little spreadsheet setup format, and I'll have things downloadable from my website to go so that you can actually fill in the boxes and really know how to compare your options.
Excellent.
So that you don't get paralyzed and just, throw a dart.
Right. Or just do nothing, which is
or
just
do
bad.
nothing.
Then you have this other comparison thing, which is sort of and I forget if it's on the healthcare thing or nice to have, gotta have.
Yes, that's sort of my just do it scale.
Right.
On employee benefits, because you might get a whole lot of different options in there, and you're not sure, do I need all of these things? Do I need some of them? What is it? And so what I try to do was give you, yes, health insurance, everybody needs it, get it, you got to have it. Long-term disability, it's not fun to pay for. You don't think you're going to need it, but check that box. You need to have it. There's other things, maybe not so much for your situation.
Right.
So I kind of rate it for your situation. These are the things to consider, what you need to do and don't do.
Excellent resource. Don't we all wish we had that? Oh my God, I wish I had that when I got my first job. Want to say hello to the folks in the chat room. Hi, Rebecca. I know there's some others out there who are lurking. You guys always lurk. Chime in. Chime in, ask a question, and we do have a question. Are you considering an adult version? I think you mean that we can take that a lot of different ways.
This
So,
is for
the
adults.
grown folks guide
Yes,
to money.
The grown folks guide to money. You are graduating from something, even
The
if you're
School of Hard
80.
Knocks.
It might be I'm graduating from my marriage. It might be I'm graduating from being dependent on someone else. So absolutely, this book is for anybody. And somebody coming out of high school, that's fine. If you're ready to be independent and learn about money, go for it. Pick it up and do it. So the information in there is going to be valuable to anybody. So put on that graduation cap and buy the book. You're good to go.
And don't be ashamed if you're 50 or 60 years old and you walk into the bookstore and you buy that. You could just say it's not for me. It's for
Say it's a gift.
my son.
It's my friend's
daughter.
kids graduating. Buy it, read it in the closet. You'll get good.
Absolutely, you'll be smarter without a doubt. It is called a guide, and it very much is a guide. So, how do you see readers using the book?
Well, this is definitely not a book that you're going to read before bed every night.
Cozy up with your cup of tea.
Some of these money issues are not that exciting. I do try to put in a little humor to keep it going, but this is really something that you need to look through the table of contents, kind of pick out what is relevant to you right now. Maybe your friends are talking about it, maybe it's something you've heard of, or you are starting a job or investing in that 401k. And kind of pick the chapter and start going through it. And, this is the kind of book that you're going to look at in front of your computer screen or with a pad and a pencil and start doing some things, because reading the words is not going to fix the money situation or develop a plan unless you actually put your mouse in a spreadsheet or put a pencil on a piece of paper and start doing some of the exercises and the fill out some of the spreadsheets and stuff that I have in there for you to actually put your life into the book and see where you are and where you want to go.
Exactly. So you should walk away with some greater knowledge than when you
Absolutely.
first crack the book open. And yeah, I do agree that it is a take a look at the table of contents. Where am I right now? Am I at a place where I want to buy a house?
Yeah.
There's a chapter that talks about home buying. Is this, a time when I'm thinking about investing, or if you are a parent or grandparent and your child or young adult is interested in that, then you should give them this book and say, take a look at that chapter. You do make a distinction in the book between retirement and financial independence. What's the difference, and why should young people care?
Well, retirement is for grandpas. And I'm never going to be old. I'm never going to be that old. I mean, I said that at 20, and guess what? I am. I'm 50. Gosh, how'd that happen?
How'd that happen, right?
How'd that happen? So retirement seems forever away. It seems like something you don't need to think about for a very long time. But financial independence means I have enough money to take care of myself and do whatever I want to do. Now, that sounds pretty good at 25 or 30 or 35. So you can definitely get to being financially independent, and it's something that you can take action on today. Retirement,
Yeah. Don't even want to think
maybe
about
some
it.
other day. But I had a friend who did not read the book and yet set the goal of being retired at 45. And he was. He worked really, 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 really hard for that period of time, had a business, sold the business, is financially independent. He had a plan and he made it happen. And that's what I'm saying. Have a plan to get to that financial independence, and you can get there.
That idea of a plan is scary to people. It sounds hard. It sounds involved. What do you mean by a financial plan?
Well, if I gave you $1,000 right now, I bet you could create a financial plan for that $1,000. You would know exactly what you were going to do with the money that I just gave you.
Right.
So that's what I want you to do with your paycheck. Think about exactly what is the most important thing for those dollars that are coming in the door. Is having a really decked out apartment the most important thing? Okay, then you're going to allocate more towards your rent. Is being able to eat out more the most important thing? Then more of your spending plan needs to go toward that. But if travel is, or if saving is, or if paying off debt is, you have to consciously make that decision before the money hits your bank account,
Right.
and before you go to the mall, and before you start swiping, or you're going to find yourself at the end of the month, what happened? My paycheck's
Right.
gone.
And now I'm not able to do the thing
And
I said
now
was
I
important.
can't do the thing that's important.
So you're not telling them what should be important to them.
Absolutely not.
You're saying how to get there, which is to
Absolutely.
develop a plan.
And it's not important for everyone to be rich. I mean, when I graduated, we were all going to go out and make a gazillion dollars, and that's what everyone wanted. And, you know, if you didn't want that, you were a fool. And that's not so much the mindset, I think, now. But you do want to be financially secure. There is nothing worse than not being able to pay a bill or to have somebody call you hounding you for money, or something happens and you can't go, or you don't want to open a credit card statement because you can't pay it. That is stress. That will eat you up.
Right.
So it is creating financial security for yourself, but you have to do that mindfully. You have to
Right.
plan.
It doesn't just
to do
accidentally
that.
happen, right?
Unless you're just making a boatload of money
Even
and living
though-
a very small life, it's not going to just automatically happen that you're going to have money left over at the end of the month.
Right. Now you mentioned the D word, the 4-letter D word. Debt. Very important chapter in the book. Why is debt important? And, you know,
What do we do about it?
even, you know, graduates know that. They're intimately familiar with debt because oftentimes they come out of college
Yeah.
with this monkey on their back. What are you telling people in this
Well,
book to do
debt
with this
is the
debt?
great enslaver. I mean, nothing ties you to a job like knowing that you have to pay a mortgage. I'm telling you what, your boss loves when he sees you buy that house because he knows he has got you. You are showing up every Monday morning, like it or not.
Right.
So debt locks you in and it takes away some freedoms. I signed up for debt when I bought a house because that was more important to me. It may not be that important to other people, but a lot of kids made the decision that going to college was very important, and they funded that with debt. Well, now it's time to pay the piper. And recently, student loan interest rates went up. So the higher your rate, the more it's going to cost you when you borrow that money.
Yeah.
And you can go in and say, yeah, I'm going to take 20 years to pay off your student loans. That's going to be a lot of interest.
Calculate
And
the
a
true
lot
cost.
of enslavery. And if you're paying for things on a credit card and not paying off that balance, you're probably paying upwards of 20 to 25% interest. That's a lot. You bought something on sale, guess what? No, you didn't,
Yeah.
because you just added 20% every year that balance just keeps hanging.
Yeah.
So I want you to consciously make a decision about the debt and consciously make the decision if you want to get rid of it. The more you get rid of it, the more choices that you have, because your paycheck's not locked up making debt payments. So I have a plan in there. You can get yourself debt free. It's another worksheet. You got to sit down, you got to open your statements, you got to fill it out, make a plan for yourself. It's not that hard once you get going.
Once you do it, absolutely. Do the work. Do the work. Okay, one question in the chat room. What do you share with adults about building credit?
Well, building credit is vitally important because your credit score is many times going to determine what your interest rate is.
And it follows you everywhere.
And it follows you for a very long time, so you want that credit score to be good. So you want to go to annualcreditreport.com and find out what is my credit score. I have a whole section in the book talking about getting the credit score. What do you do about it? What do you see? But for somebody just starting out, number one, pay your bills on time all the time, every single month. Do not overdraw your checking account. Do not. That impacts your credit score. Make sure you have a backup, even if the backup is a draw on a credit card. That's not going to impact it, but when you bounce a check, that's going to impact your credit score. So keep an eye on. Everybody has electronic everything. You can know exactly to the minute what that bank balance is. Do not overdraw that account. Get a credit card, even if it's a low credit line. Use it on must-have things like gas. Okay, I know I need in my budget gas. So you're going to use it on that, and you're going to pay the whole balance in full every month on time. That's going to start the process of building the credit.
Okay, alrighty. So what about for people who haven't done all the right things initially and they've got a credit score that they're not pleased with. How do they fix that?
Okay. Well, the way that you fix that, if you go into the book, and I have a whole section about creating your spending plan. This is where you sit down and consciously think, what's important in my life? How do I want my money to follow what's important to me? And once you create that and you see, here's where my money is going, here's where I want my money to go, and then you start making a plan to change that. So that you start getting your money to go toward paying down debt, because that's going to improve your credit score. If you look in the debt chapter, there's a whole section about what are the components of your credit score. One of them is how much of your credit capacity are you using. If you have a $5,000 line and you're using $4,990 of it, that does not look good because you're maxed out. So it's making the conscious effort that some of my money needs to go toward paying that down, making sure I don't incur late fees on things, and start getting your money pointed in the direction of doing the things that are important to you. And then your credit score is going to follow.
And so the idea is that it's a process, and that's why you have this chart, so
Right.
that you didn't get this bad credit score or low credit score overnight.
Right.
And you're probably not going to repair it overnight. But
Correct.
if you do these things meticulously and
Yes.
consistently, then you'll see results.
And the thing is, time's going to pass. I mean, you think, oh, a year away, I can't, that's going to be so long. You're going to blink and wake up and a year goes by. So start doing it today. Start getting your plan today. If you feel bad about what you've done in the past, sit there and just acknowledge, I made mistakes. I've made a million of them. You can look at me now. I was the $5 queen. My money just dribbled away every month, $5 at a time, doing whatever was right in front of me. So it's okay. When you know better, you do better. Right? Was that Maya Angelou that said that? When you know better, you do better. So you get the book. Now I know. Now I'm going to make a plan. And the thing that takes away those bad feelings is action. If you start taking positive action, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. You probably didn't have anybody teaching you this. But take some positive action. You start feeling better about yourself. And then it makes saying no to some bad habits a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
And you've got it in your mind. You have to have it in your mind. This is what's important to me. This is what I want to do. And then you'll start doing it.
Excellent. I want to come back. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I want to come back. You talk about some psychological things when it comes to money, sort of that money story, the history, your backstory with money. And we're going to talk about that with Tana as soon as we come back from a commercial break. Stick with us.
Does your son need a more challenging, focused, and encouraging educational environment? Renaissance Christian Academy is an affordable private school for boys located in McDonough, Georgia, with certified teachers that are uniquely equipped to help your son master learning. You're welcome to schedule a tour of our facilities by calling 770-305-9881 or by visiting our website at rcaboysacademy.org. Renaissance Christian Academy, developing young men to be great leaders through Christ-centered learning.
What happens when soldiers come home? Brene Foundation offers hero support to ensure that our heroes abroad can continue to be heroes at home. We link veterans with organizations who are dedicated to guiding the transition from military hero to civilian hero. If you want to find out how you can support our troops at home, please contact the Brene Foundation or visit brene.com.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
Welcome back to Book Your Success. I'm Anita Paul, the author's midwife with WriteYourLife.net, and we are in the studio with Tana Gildea. She is the author of The Graduate's Guide to Money. We've been having a fantastic discussion about everybody in money, not just all kinds of graduates. Graduates from college, graduates from the School of Hard Knocks, graduates from whatever, and what we can do to be smarter about our money. And we want to thank Visual Marketing Mentors for sponsoring today's show. If you have any kind of a trade show presence or convention or conference coming up and you want to look awesome, blow them out of the water with all of your signage, your booth, the whole 9 yards, get in touch with Ann Keys Spencer at visualmarketingmentors.com and she will hook you up. You will be the life of the party, the life of the show. I want to say hello to some folks in the chat room. Hello to Jamie and hello to Rebecca and everybody else who's out there watching. We've got a question. When do you plan to add the Graduate's Guide to Money curricula to high schools?
Well, love to do that. So, whoever's in charge of that in Georgia, give me a ring and I'll be glad to sell you a whole bunch of bags.
And so how do we get in touch with you?
You can go to my website, graduatesguidetomoney.com, and I have information about buying the book, of course. It's not yet available, but it's going to be within the next couple of weeks, and I'll get you pre-ordered, and we'll get books out to you. But I would love to do any kind of speaking or teaching to groups. So if anybody out there has a group of teens or young adults and would like me to come and speak, do some training, hit the highlights, I love doing that. I love talking to these kids. They're awesome. My kids and their friends have such a great spirit, and I think such a great energy for changing the world. They weren't money hungry like we were when I got out of school. They
want quality of life.
They want quality of life, and they want to impact the world. They want to be impactful. And I think that's another way that if you use your money, if that's important to you, you use it in an impactful way, then you feel good about what you're doing and what you're spending. So,
excellent.
Put me in touch with whoever's in charge, and I'll talk to
them. Absolutely. So let's talk about some of that. We have different priorities, and we all have a money story. We have the stuff. It could be junk, it could be good stuff, but whatever we learn from parents, from other family members, from hard knocks about money, you address that in a chapter called My Money Story or Your Money Story.
Yep.
What is this money story, and how does it impact us today?
Well, when we're kids, we learn everything by watching the adults that are important in our life, whether that's parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever you are around as a child, and we pick up stuff like sponges, and we don't know what it is and what it means, but we're just soaking it up, and we start categorizing it as we get a little bit older, and form our beliefs about the world. And we don't really know where those beliefs come from, and we aren't even really conscious that we have those beliefs, but they're back there from everything we've picked up. So if you saw mom and dad fighting constantly about money, then money is a for you. If mom and dad never spoke about money, then money is we're not going to talk about that subject. And you're picking up all of that stuff. And so you get into life and you start actually interacting with money. The first time you spent, did you get ridiculed by an adult because you made a stupid choice and that leads you to believe I'm not very good with money? Did everybody say, well, she can't keep a dime in her pocket, she's just a spendthrift? Well, if people tell you you're a certain way, you start to believe it, and then you start to behave that way. So you become that thing. You become that thing. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. And that goes to money. If somebody said, oh, you are awesome with money, such a good saver, then you become a good saver. But we're not consciously thinking about what is my relationship to money.
And what have I heard about money all my life? Even just
but
you
get it emotionally. So if you're interacting with money and you feel anxiety or you feel guilt or you feel fear, maybe there was not very much money in your household. And so the thought of money provoked a lot of fear and anxiety. Or there was shame because your mom spent and your dad got mad and she was guilty and she said, don't tell your dad that I spent. So we pick up all this emotion around money and we don't really know that we're carrying it around. So one of the things when I take people through, like, what is your money story? And I discovered this when my grandparents died, and I found out how much money they had, and I thought I was so sad because they didn't ever enjoy their money because it was something to be hoarded and not enjoyed. And so I took on the mindset of, well, heck, I'm going to enjoy today. I don't want to
Not
be the
even
person.
thinking about where they came from, right?
Right,
Their generation
right.
was like,
But
we
all
need to
these
hold on to
things,
this.
I just picked that up, and then I started behaving. I wanted to go 180, which isn't a good answer either.
Right.
So you have to find, what do I believe about money? If you think money's hard to come by, guess what? It will be. If you think there's plenty for everyone, I am perfectly capable of supporting myself. I'm perfectly capable of managing my money in a very responsible, thoughtful way, then you will become that.
Right.
But you have to acknowledge, what do I feel about money, and that's going to probably come from the emotion that you feel around it. And then dig back. Where did that come from? What experiences, what do I remember way back when that maybe gave me this impression that money was hard to come by, or money was easy to come by, or I couldn't hold on to a dime, or I was, a stingy person.
Right, right.
And you got to explore that. And so that's one of the things, again, pencil to paper. You've got
come
to
to terms with
sit. If this is not bedtime reading, you got to sit down and think
You gotta do the
through,
work.
what do I feel about money? And what do you feel about your current situation? Because that impacts how you're going to act and react.
Because how you feel about money is manifesting itself in your life, whether you realize it or not.
Absolutely. If you say, my daddy said I'll never be rich, guess what? You won't. You will
Right.
find a way to make that come true.
Right.
Now, if you
Where
said,
do you-
my dad always said I was going to be a millionaire, you will be.
Right. Absolutely.
It's what
I
you
love
believe.
that.
It is
It's so
what you
true.
believe, and
It's so true.
it's true of everything in your life, your relationships, but it's true of money too. And money just has a lot of emotion. It's either taboo, or it's a subject of fights, or
Right.
you hear
Just
about
don't even
the
talk about it.
yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, we have another question in the chat room, and this is about debt again. Any tips on alternatives to student loans? You talk about student loan stuff, and again, we mentioned that a lot of young people are coming out of college with student loan debt, some with credit card debt. What are some alternatives to student loans in particular?
Well, I think if you start this from the standpoint of, I'm a high school graduate and I'm starting my journey, it's great if you can just pick a college that you want to go to and pick up and go plop down and live on that campus and do all the college things for 4 straight years. That's awesome. That's expensive.
Yes.
So you have to look at, where are the ways that I can make college more economical.
Right.
And one of those is living at home. It might not be the funnest option. It might not be the option you like the best. But room and board is an enormous part of the cost of college. So if you can live someplace for free, stay with mom, dad, grandma, aunts, uncles, that is a great savings. If you can go to a local community college for a couple of years, take online classes, those tend to be less expensive credits. The only thing people see at the end of the day is where you graduated from. They don't know that you took 2 years at a local community college and then transferred to a big name university. You want to go to Notre Dame and have your degree from Notre Dame? Fantastic. Do your first 2 years somewhere else. Knock the ball out of the park on your grades so that you can transfer into that, and you're paying 2 years of that kind of tuition versus 4. So look for inexpensive credits. There's nothing that says that you have to go full-time all the time straight through. Working part-time gives you a lot of great experience. There's a lot of opportunity for internships so that you can be making money as you go through school, so you're sort of paying as you go. Yeah, it might take you 6 years or 8 years,
Right.
but that's okay. At the end of the day, you want a degree, and 8 years are going to go by anyway. You might as well be
Making progress
making
toward your
progress
goal. Yeah.
toward the goal. So go at night, go online, do those kind of things. Obviously, if you can get free money, that is awesome. There are a lot of scholarships, but you have to work to get them. You have to work to find them. You have to work to do the applications, to make sure
meet the criteria, grades going into it. Yeah.
And this is one of those you've got to show up, because there are scholarships that are unused because no one applies. That means you got to dig down and you've got to realize a $500 scholarship is still $500. If you found $500 on the ground, you would pick it up.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are like, well, that's not going to contribute to my $20,000. You know what? Every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
So you've got to seek out those scholarships. You got to be careful online, because there's a lot of scam things that are going on. But there are a lot of legitimate scholarships that you can apply for. It just takes work to do that.
Absolutely. So I hope that answers the question. There are alternatives to student loans, okay? So hello again to everybody who's in the chat room. Hi, Reed, Richard, Jamie, Rebecca, all the rest of you. We've got a few more minutes for questions. So this affects everybody. Money affects everybody. So this book, The Graduate's Guide to Money, is geared towards college graduates, but anybody can learn something from this. Trust me, there's good stuff in here. Tell me, what was the hardest chapter to write?
I think the hardest chapter to write was on investing, because investing is big and wide and deep and broad, and there have been libraries written about investing. So it's hard to try to boil all that down to really the essence of what do you need without anybody being overwhelmed. In the book, I try to put in a lot of pictures and charts, and I refer you to a website where you can see some things. One of the concepts is volatility. We talk about that, the risk of the investment. Is the price going to go up and down? So I tried to at least get it into a picture format that, hey, go look at this over time, so that you're not as impacted by it went up today, it went down tomorrow, and you're freaking out about it. So I tried to boil it down, but that's a big topic. So be patient. If you get the book and you start reading through it and you're thinking, wow, this is a lot, keep going through it, keep clicking through it, get to some of the parts where I refer you to websites, and look at, and just start dipping your toes into it, because you
have to take some action, try it.
You have to just try it. You have to do a little teeny bit of research, and I guide you step by step through how to research what is an asset class, what's large cap, small cap, international, all these terms we hear out there. So tiptoe in, be a little patient, and get started with it.
And then you even warn, I guess, readers that you're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
We all have.
Everybody's going to make mistakes.
Be able to recover, learn something from it, and don't let it discourage you from trying again in the market, because,
It is. And the thing is, for somebody that is in their 20s, investing is you've got a long time horizon. You have got a long time horizon. So you really do need to invest. We've been in a weird environment with interest rates so low and inflation so low, but eventually inflation catches up. I look back when I was a kid and gas was 35 cents a gallon.
Gosh.
35 cents. It's hard to imagine. So prices will go up in the future, and if you're not investing your money for it to go up faster than inflation goes up, you lose purchasing power. Because if I had stamps, take a postage stamp, a dime to mail a letter. If I buried those stamps in my backyard so I could mail a letter in 2014, guess what? I can only mail half as many letters in 2014, or a quarter as many letters in 2014. So inflation impacts it. That's why you have got to invest. You've got to let your money work and build over time.
Now, at Compass Financial, these are the strategies that you share with your clients, right?
Yes.
It's not, it's not just your money today, but you're really trying to make them smarter for the next, to help their next generations.
I would love for everybody reading this book to one day be one of our clients, because we work with, higher net worth people, or people who are willing to pay us to guide them toward high net worth. And my partners do investment management. We have about 200 million of assets that we manage for our clients, because you can take yourself a certain ways down the investing road. And then you're probably going to need some professional help. We have people who do research all the time on investments, on what we're going to invest for our clients. So, someday you're going to want to get some help with that. But you've got to get yourself to a level that you need that kind of expertise.
Right.
And the way you do that is you just get started. You start with a couple of funds, you start investing, you get that 401k going or your IRA going, and, you start down the road. And then when you get to the point where your balances get a little bit bigger and there's a little bit more to lose, then you look for some help from people who do this for a living.
Very good, very good. One more question in the chat room. What do you recommend to seniors? I'm assuming high school or college seniors, or graduates who have waited late to apply your principles. And it's not just seniors and graduates, it's like real seniors, senior citizens.
There's 60-year-olds who need to pick this up.
Right.
You know what? Today is the first day of the rest of your life. You can only go from today forward. We can't jump in the time machine and bounce back. So you just start right now. You just say, this is where I am. And that's one of the first steps in the book is we sit down and we do your balance sheet. Yeah. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? How much are you worth? At the end of the day, your net worth, which is the difference between those two things. And then say, where do you want to be? The first step is always knowledge. You've got to know where you are. That means you got to open every single loan statement, every single credit card. You got to know what you owe, all those kind of things. And then we make a plan to go forward from here. Right. You figure out where you want to be. I want to be debt free. Awesome. Make a plan. And I walk you through that whole thing in the book.
Absolutely. Start
That's
today.
the whole last chapter of the book. There's 3 sections. Creating your financial plan, figure out what you want, and then build a plan to get there.
Right. So, The Graduate's Guide to Money. Where do we order it?
www.graduatesguidetomoney.com is where you can pre-order it today. We will try to get it up on Amazon as soon as we finish the book and have a Kindle version. But right now, you need that paper book so that you can open it up and start
And write
writing
it
in
out.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Tana.
Thank you so much for
Love
having
having
me.
you on the show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on Book Your Success. We will see you next time. Thanks also, of course, to Visual Marketing Mentors as our sponsor, visualmarketingmentors.com. And we'll see you back here on Book Your Success. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. Today's show can be viewed again in archives on our website at www.bizlinks.tv. If you are an entrepreneur and would like to appear on the program to discuss your book and share how you utilize it to enhance your business platform, submit an inquiry to Book Your Success at bizlinks.tv. In addition, information on advertising and hosting your own show can be found on our website at www.bizlinks.tv.